Hey there, deep divers. Ready for a deep dive into something a little different today? We're going to be talking about early retirement.
Early retirement.
Yeah, but before you go and hit that unsubscribe button,
Right.
this isn't about, like spreadsheets or 401ks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Those are important, of course.
Of course.
But we're really looking at the more philosophical reasons for why early retirement might be something that you're into.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really going to be exploring the philosophy behind early retirement and looking at those reasons that people don't often talk about,
Yeah.
that go beyond just the financial aspect.
Yeah.
So really kind of expanding your perspective on what retirement could be.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and he actually took early retirement to open a pottery studio. And it
Ah.
really got me thinking, there's more to this whole early retirement thing than meets the eye.
Yeah, definitely.
Luckily, we have a podcast episode to help us out called The Early Retirement Dream, 10 Compelling Reasons to Retire ASAP.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And some of these reasons, honestly, they kind of surprised me.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting.
Like one of them is that retiring early can actually lead to better financial management.
It's counterintuitive, right?
It's totally counterintuitive. So let's break down how that works.
Okay.
So the first reason that they give in this episode is financial freedom.
Right.
So what do they mean by that?
Well, when you're working, you're constantly having to deal with all these expenses that are related to your job.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You've got your commute every day,
Right.
You've got those expensive lunches, you're gone out with your colleagues, and, maybe even having to buy a whole professional wardrobe just for work.
Oh, yeah, especially if you work in like a corporate job or something like that.
Exactly. And so once you retire, all of those costs they disappear.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it that way before, but
Yeah.
how does that translate into better financial management?
I think it's really about a mindset shift.
Okay.
You're not relying on that steady paycheck coming in anymore. So you become more aware of your spending habits because you're having to manage, a limited amount of money.
Yeah.
And that can lead to just more intentional and mindful spending overall.
I like that. Less about having more money and more about just changing your relationship to the money that you have.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next reason on the list is freedom and flexibility.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure we all, fantasize about not setting an alarm clock,
Oh, yeah.
but is that all there is to it?
It's so much more than that. I mean, it really is about the freedom to structure your days however you want.
Okay.
So, imagine like waking up and deciding, today I'm going to work on my novel, or today I'm going to learn how to play the guitar.
It's funny you mention guitar because a lot of people, when they retire, they take up a new hobby.
Yeah.
Or even like a new career.
Exactly.
Is there a connection there?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next reason on the list is actually pursuing passions. And work takes up so much time and energy for a lot of people that they don't really have the space to explore their deeper interests.
Yeah.
And so retirement really allows for that.
So it's almost like you're not just retiring from work, you're retiring to something.
Exactly.
Something that you're actually passionate about.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so the next reason is health benefits.
Okay.
Now, this one seems kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Like, you're not working, you have less stress, you have more time to take care of yourself.
Right on the surface, yes.
Yeah.
But it's deeper than that.
Okay.
When you have chronic stress, and especially if it's work-related stress, that can have a really big impact on both your physical and your mental health.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that stress can be linked to things like heart disease, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression.
Wow. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's no joke.
The daily grind can really take a toll on us,
It really can.
even if we don't realize it. So you're saying that if you're able to remove that stress from your life through early retirement, you could see some pretty big health improvements.
Exactly. You're able to prioritize your well-being
Yeah.
in a way that you just can't when you're working, a full-time job.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's move on to time with loved ones.
Okay.
Now, this one, I think pretty much everyone wants more time with their family and friends,
Yeah, for sure.
but life just gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, it always does.
So how does early retirement help with that?
Well, early retirement really gives you the gift of time. You have
Yeah.
so much more time to spend with your loved ones,
Yeah.
your children, your grandchildren, your parents, even your close friends.
Yeah,
And, as we get older, those relationships become even more precious.
it's true. I've heard a lot of people say that they regret not spending more time with their loved ones when they had the chance.
Yeah.
And it seems like early retirement allows you to address that regret.
Yeah, absolutely.
It lets you build those memories and those connections while you still have the time and the energy to really enjoy them.
Exactly. And those become part of your legacy,
Oh, yeah.
which we'll talk about
Oh,
later.
back to that.
But for now, let's talk about something that always gets people excited about retirement.
Ah,
Travel. Ah, yes, travel opportunities.
yes.
Now, the podcast episode talked about ditching the tourist traps and really immersing yourself in new cultures.
Yeah,
But isn't travel expensive?
it can be.
Yeah, how does early retirement help with that?
Well, a couple of ways.
Okay.
First, you're no longer limited to traveling during like school holidays
Right.
or peak seasons.
Yeah.
So that often means you can get cheaper flights and accommodation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then also, because you have more time, you can choose slower and more immersive ways to travel,
Okay.
which are also often more budget-friendly.
So you're saying like backpacking or...
Backpacking, house sitting,
Yeah.
things like that. Okay, so trading in the, rushed, expensive vacations for something a little bit slower and cheaper and more authentic,
Exactly. Yeah.
like that, really slowing down and savoring the experience
Yeah.
rather than just checking things off a list.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Deep Divers.
Yeah.
We've made it through 6 of the 10 reasons so far,
That's right.
and I'm already feeling pretty inspired.
Me too.
We'll be back after a short break to explore the remaining 4, so don't go anywhere.
See you soon. All right, so moving on to the next reason.
Yeah.
It's personal growth in retirement.
Personal growth. So you're saying that it's not just about relaxing.
Well, it's interesting because learning is obviously like a lifelong thing, right?
Right.
But I think retirement kind of changes how you approach it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought of it as, relaxing after decades of hard work,
Yeah.
finally getting to do nothing.
Yeah.
But the source is presenting it as a time for, like, growth and exploration.
Yeah, exactly.
really.
Like think about all those things you've always wanted to learn
Yeah.
or explore, but you just haven't had the time or energy for because you've been working.
Right?
Like maybe taking a course in ancient philosophy or learning a new language or even
know.
like going back to school and getting a degree in something that's always fascinated you.
Yeah, like my aunt, actually, she retired a few years ago. And
Oh, yeah.
she's been taking all these creative writing workshops.
Wow.
And she even published a short story collection last year.
That's amazing.
I know, it's really cool. So
Yeah. And it just shows that retirement can really be a time to like
yeah.
rediscover those parts of yourself that you maybe haven't had time for.
Yeah.
And it's not just like formal education either, right?
Right.
It could be exploring new hobbies, traveling to new places, or even just having the time for like deep reflection and self-discovery.
So it's about giving back to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of giving back,
Yeah.
the next reason is contributing to society.
Okay.
And, a lot of people volunteer or do charity work when they retire. Does that tie into this idea of personal growth at all?
I think it absolutely does.
Okay.
Yeah, contributing to society can be incredibly fulfilling and it can give you a sense of purpose and meaning,
Yeah.
especially after you've left the workforce.
Right.
It's about using your skills, your experience, your passions
Yeah.
to make a positive impact.
So it's not just about taking time for yourself.
Right.
It's about taking time to help others.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so the next reason, and this is something that I think a lot of people struggle with these days, especially with our crazy work culture.
Yeah, I agree.
It's reduced work-life imbalance.
Yeah.
What do they mean by that?
I think it's really about recognizing how much our modern work culture can affect our well-being.
Okay.
A lot of people really struggle to find that balance between work and their personal lives.
Right.
And that can lead to stress burnout,
Yeah.
even health problems.
Yeah, so early retirement is
Yeah.
a way to kind of fix that.
Yeah, it's a chance to kind of step off that treadmill. Yeah.
And redefine what balance actually means for you.
So it's more than just having free time. It's about actually getting to live your life.
Yeah, like structuring your life in a way that
Yeah.
really prioritizes your well-being
Right.
and allows you to do the things that are important to you.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why we wait so long to actually prioritize our well-being.
Right, like why do we wait until retirement?
Yeah, like you have to grind for decades and then you can finally enjoy yourself.
Right.
Maybe there's a better way.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, and finally the last reason.
Okay.
Legacy creation.
Right.
Now when I think of legacy, I think of like, building a huge fortune or
Yeah.
like writing a famous book or something.
Yeah, like something really grand.
Yeah.
You know?
But it seems like the source is talking about something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think it's more about like a personal legacy,
Okay.
your own personal legacy.
So not about like money or fame.
Right. It's about the relationships that you build, the values that you embody.
Yeah. The positive impact you have on other people's lives.
So like even small acts of kindness and generosity,
Exactly.
like, mentoring someone or
Mentoring, volunteering.
volunteering or even just being there for your loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And early retirement can give you the time and space to really focus on that.
Right.
Shift your focus away from, accumulating wealth or achieving status
Yeah.
and more towards creating something that will really last.
Yeah. Listening to all of this is making me think about early retirement in a whole new way.
Yeah, me too.
It's not just about escaping work or relaxing. It's about, you know,
Yeah.
taking control of your life.
Yeah, taking control and creating something meaningful.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of this conversation.
Yeah,
It's about challenging our ideas about what retirement should be.
absolutely.
So we've gone through all 10 reasons
We have.
from this podcast episode.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that early retirement isn't really a goal in itself. Okay.
It's more like a tool
Hmm.
or a path.
A path.
Yeah, a path to a richer, more fulfilling life.
I love that it's not the ending, it's a new beginning.
Exactly.
And even if early retirement isn't for everyone,
right.
I think these ideas are really valuable
Yeah.
for anyone at any stage of life.
I think that's really about, being intentional with your time, prioritizing your well-being, and doing things that bring you joy and meaning.
Yeah, and, it doesn't have to be about retiring early. It can just be about living a better life now.
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
Yeah, a lot to chew on.
But before we sign off, I want to leave them with one final thought.
Okay.
If you could retire early, what would be the very first thing that you would do? That would bring you genuine joy and fulfillment.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It really makes you think, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It makes you think about what's really important.
Yeah.
And, it's not always about having some big plan.
Right. Sometimes it's just about the simple things like spending time in nature or pursuing a creative hobby or, just being able to say yes to those little opportunities that come up.
That's true. You know, eh, Going through these reasons, I noticed that some of them seem kind of contradictory,
Oh, yeah. Like how so?
like financial freedom and pursuing passions.
Right.
Like those seem like they might need different approaches.
That's a great point. And I think it highlights the fact that early retirement isn't like a one-size-fits-all thing.
Yeah.
It's really personal and it takes, careful planning and thinking.
Right. So you might need to get creative to figure out how to balance those different things.
Exactly.
Like maybe starting a small business on the side that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Or downsizing your lifestyle to have more time and money.
Right. Exactly. You have to figure out what works for you.
And, early retirement doesn't have to mean like completely stopping working altogether.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Are you saying that some people might want to keep working even after they retire?
Yeah. I think for some people, work gives them a sense of purpose and identity that they don't want to lose.
Right.
So early retirement could just mean like shifting to a less demanding job or starting a passion project or even volunteering their skills.
So it's all about finding that balance
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
where you have the freedom and the flexibility to do the things you love, but you're not completely giving up everything.
Right, exactly.
I think that's really important for our listeners to remember. Early retirement isn't just the end. It's like the beginning
Yeah, it's a new chapter.
of a whole new chapter
Exactly.
full of, new opportunities and possibilities.
And even if early retirement isn't really something you're thinking about right now, I think a lot of these principles we talked about
Yeah.
can apply to anyone,
Yeah.
no matter what stage of life they're in.
Right. It's about living intentionally
Yeah.
and creating a life that you actually want.
Exactly.
Well said. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope this deep dive is giving you some new things to think about and inspired you to see retirement in a whole new light.
Yeah, maybe even rethink retirement entirely.
And don't forget that question we asked earlier.
Oh, yeah.
If you could retire early, what would be the very first thing you do that brings you genuine joy?
Yeah, keep thinking about that.
Keep that question in mind. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep living life on your own terms.
See you next time.